A very good morning, students. Welcome back to online session on programming for problem solving course. In our previous session, we started your second unit and we discussed the terminology associated with that second unit, and we have also discussed some of the basics in your second units, isn't it? So your second unit, we said we are going to discuss about control structures as well as the concept of arrays. We are going to complete in your second unit. So control structures, we said all the conditional statements as well as looping statements we're gonna see in your second unit. And arrays, it is a different level of data type, or it is a derived data type. I mean, when we categorized the data types in your first unit, there we have seen data types, they are broadly categorized into two: the primitive data types and the derived data types. Primitive data types, we said all integers, characters, and all these things, whatever types we have, floating point, all these types will come under primitive types. And we have a second category, that is derived type. And arrays, the concept of arrays, it comes under derived type because they are not independent. By depending on the primitive types, we are creating this derived type. So that is the reason why we have given the name derived type, because they have been derived from the primitive types. Hopefully you understood this one. So as part of the second unit, we discussed, we started the concept of arithmetic expressions, and we have seen the terminology like what is expression, what is operator, what is operand. And then we broadly categorized the concept of expression into two: simple expression, complex expression. So first of all, expression, anything which is a sequence of operands as well as operators will be known as an expression. So merely we are going to have only operators as well as operands in your expression. So this expression, it can be of two types: simple expression, complex expression. Simple expression means only one operator, not more than that. Okay. Complex expression means two or more operators. If only one operator is there, we call it as a simple expression. If you have more number of operators, we call it as complex expression. Okay. And we have seen the examples also for simple expression as well as complex expression. Then we started the concept of operators. And operators, we said it is a syntactical token which performs the operation on operands. Okay, you can write the definition in any way. The thing is, you have to understand the concept. Once you understand the concept, you can frame your own definitions. Okay, no need to simply mug up the concept over here. Okay, so I believe you will do the same thing. So operators are the foundation for any programming language. Okay, in order to understand, in order to learn a programming language, operators are the must and should thing. Okay, the functionality of C language, C programming language, is incomplete without the use of operators. Because if you don't use the operators in your mathematics also, if you don't use the operators, how come you are going to frame the expressions? If there are no expressions, no mathematics. So something similar to that one. By making use of these programming languages, we supposed to solve the real-time computational problems, and all computational problems, they involve dealing with operations, isn't it the case? So if you are doing the computational problems, definitely you have to use the operators in that one. Okay, yeah. So these operators, we said they can be of three types: unary, binary, and tertiary or ternary. Okay, so unary in the sense it will consume, it will take only one operand to perform its operation. Binary in the sense it will take two operands to perform its operation. Ternary, it will take three operands to perform its functionality. So based on this thing, we said unary operators, ternary operators, they are new concepts to you, because before this C language, you might have not seen any of such operators in your academics, isn't it? In your mathematics, we used to use only operators of binary operator type. Okay, they will take two operands to perform the operation, like your arithmetic operations, arithmetic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all these they will take two operands to perform their functionality. But whereas when we are saying unary operator, it will take only one operand, and ternary operator it will take three operand, and they are the new concepts to you. Okay, so yeah, we have seen the same definitions, the meaning of those operator categories: unary, binary, and ternary. So there is another type of categorization in operators based on their behavior. So this is based on the number of operands they use. Okay, this categorization, unary, binary, ternary, this categorization is based on the number of operands they use. But there is another category we do have, and that categorization we have done based on the behavior of the operators. So that is over here. Based on the above criterion, I mean whatever binary, unary, ternary we have discussed just now, and also the behavior of those operators, we have another type of categorization for these operators. They are arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, assignment operators, increment and decrement, conditional, and other operators. So we start with arithmetic operators, and yesterday we discussed about these arithmetic operators. They are all arithmetic operators, they are of binary type because they take two operands. As you can see over here, the form, all my binary operators, they are taking the form of binary form. All my arithmetic operators, they are taking the form of binary, because all my arithmetic operators, they require how many operators to, how many operands to perform their functionality? Two operands. Okay, they require two operands. That is the reason why we are calling them as binary operators. Okay, we are calling them as binary operators. As you can see here, plus arithmetic addition, it requires two operators, two operands. Subtraction, okay, arithmetic subtraction, minus, it also requires two operands. Multiplication, arithmetic multiplication, it requires two operands. Division, modular division, also same thing, they require two operands to perform their functionality. And specific cases we discussed when we are performing the division and modular division. In division, the divisor, it should not be 0. If you make the divisor 0, the value will go to infinity and your program will crash. The same thing for modular division. In modular division, we have two conditions. The first condition is none of the these two, none of the A and B, like none of the dividend and the divisor should be a real number. Real number in the sense whole number along with fraction part. It should not be a real number. If it is a real number, you will not get the remainder, or you will not get the accurate value. So that is the reason why we are disallowing, or we are simply not using the real numbers when we are performing the modular division operation. Okay, and the second condition over here is again the divisor, it should not be 0. If the divisor is 0, again the value will go to infinity. So this modular division operation, it will give you the remainder. Okay, it will give you the remainder of the operation. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so these things we discussed in our previous session, and we have also seen an example program, and I have given you the complete awareness of the IDE what we are going to use in our C language hands-on training. Okay, we are going to have everything hands-on. We'll see how the programs we narrate and how the programs we execute and how we get the output, how we solve the compilation errors, how we solve the logical errors, everything we see hands-on. Okay, I will show you the execution by typing the program, by executing the program, okay, using the compiler, using the IDE. Okay, so in my yesterday's class, we discussed one such program, many such programs, but on the whole, we can make it as one single program. So where we are performing all the operations, all the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modular division. So quickly, in today's class, we'll be discussing about relational operators. So it is an important operator category, and believe me, without the use of these relational operators, it is very difficult to use all the control structures. Okay, so these relational operators, they are very much helpful in framing the conditions to make your conditional statements, or to make your iterative statements functional. Okay, so these relational operators, basically where we use inside your control structures. So these two things, your conditional statements as well as your iterative statements, we are calling them as control structures, isn't it? So to make your control statements operational, we use this relational operators. So relational operators are used for comparison, okay? Generally, they don't do addition, subtraction, multiplication, how the arithmetic operators will do. Here, what these relational operators will do, they will simply do the comparison. And believe me, this is not the new concept for you. You have already discussed, you have already seen such type of relational operators in your mathematics as well. So, relational operators are something they used to do the comparison between the operands. So which one is greater, which one is smaller, or both are equal. Likewise, if you want to do the comparison, we use this relational operators. Okay. So all of the relational operators are binary operators. Again, you remember, all the relational operators, whatever we discuss, they are of binary type category. Okay. All the relational operators are binary type category. Binary means what? Again, they require, in order to do the operation, they require two operands. Okay. Two operands. Okay. So, yeah. So quickly, we have the relational operator, the first operator, equal operator. See, in mathematics, generally to do the, to compare the two things, okay, in your theorems or in your solutions of the mathematics problem, what we do, whenever we are doing the comparison, we use a single equals to sign, isn't it? We use a single equals to sign, like this we use. But when we do the same thing in your programming, like C language, we use double equals to for comparison, because single equals to over here, it is having a different meaning, isn't it? So single equals to, what it does for us, what it will do for us. So it will do the assignment. Suppose if you want to assign some value to a variable, then we use the single equals to. Very soon we are going to discuss about the single equal operator as well. We call it as assignment operator, and it is having some specific meaning. So that is the reason why we cannot use the same operator for comparison as well. So what we do, instead of using a single equals to, we use double equals to. So double equals to, in the sense, what we are doing, simply we are comparing. Okay, simply we are comparing. It checks whether the given two operands are equal or not. So whatever operands you are giving, because it is a binary operand, so it requires two operands. So if you are giving two operands to it, what it will do, it will simply checks whether the given two operands are equal or not equal. Only that one it will do. Okay, so then again, so if you do the reverse of it, instead of checking equal condition, if you want to check unequal, so then go for not equal. So how we can do it? Here you can see the double equals to. So maybe it is looking like a big two lines to you, but they are not two lines. There is a gap in between. You have to see that there is a gap in between. It is two double equals to operators, like this. Two double equal. Okay, sorry, two equal operators, not double equal, two equal operators, and we call them as a double equal operator. Double equal operator, and in short we call it as equal operator, and we use two equal signs to frame it. Okay, so likewise you remember. So over here, yeah, and one more important thing you have to remember when dealing with these relational operators, all these relational operators will return, like your assignment operator, what it will do, it will assign the value to the variable, and your arithmetic addition operator, it will add the two numbers and returns the result and gives the result. Suppose if you are adding 2 plus 3, so that plus sign, what it will do, the plus sign is arithmetic addition. What it will do, yeah, here if you are doing like this, if you are doing 2 plus 3, so what is this 2? It is a operand, and what is this 3? It is another operand. This is operator. So this operator, what it will do, it will add the content of 2 to the content of 3, and finally it will give us the result, isn't it? It will give us the result like 5. So this is the return value of this operator, and it is as it is a binary operator, it is performing the operation on these two operands. So likewise you have to remember. I think this is clear for you. In that same way, when you are performing the comparison, when you are performing the comparison between two numbers, so let us say I am checking 2 double equals to sum 5. I am doing like this. So what it is, I have the equal operator. This is my equal operator, and what it is doing, it is checking for the equivality of these two operands, 2 and 5. It is checking for the equivality of these two operands. So when it checks, it finds that two operands are not equal, isn't it? Two operands are not equal. So it indicates that unequal condition. It indicates that unequal condition by returning a Boolean value. So as we said, Boolean values are only two, true and false. Boolean values are only two, either true or false. So here this type of statement, what I am writing over here, it is a false statement because I am comparing two unequal operands. So what you will get here as a false, you will get a false Boolean false you will get over here. Remember this one, Boolean false you will get. Same thing, if you do the comparison between 5 equals to 5, let us say you are comparing two 5s over here, then this equal operator over here, it compares 5 with 5 and finds that both of them are equal. So what it will return? It will return a true case. It will return a true value, Boolean true value, to indicate the case as correct. To indicate this case as correct. To indicate this case as not correct, the equal operator, it will returns the false statement. So this thing you have to remember. All relational operators, they return only Boolean values, either true or false, based on the type of comparison you are doing. If the comparison is correct, whatever comparison you are doing, if it is correct, it will return true. And if the comparison is not correct, it will return false. That thing you remember. So the next operator category, next operator we have is not equals to. So this not equal to is the opposite or complement, okay, inverse of your equals to operator. Not equals to is the inverse of your equals to operator. So not equals to, how we frame, what tokens we are using, one exclamatory mark followed by the equals to symbol. So like this we frame the not equal. So this is not equal. Remember, this is not equal. So what it will do, it will checks for the inequality of the operands. It will check for the inequality of the operands. If both the operands are not equal, it will return true. If both the operands are equal, it will return false. It is a slight confusing concept, but you have to understand and you have to remember. So let us say if I am doing the if I am checking the inequality of two operands. So like I am checking 5 unequal not equal to 5. 5 not equals to 5. 5 is an operand. This 5 is also an operand. And when this inequality or not equal operator, when you apply on these two operands, it will check and finds that both the operands are equal. And what we are doing, we are checking inequality. So we are saying both the operands are unequal. So it is a false statement, isn't it? So it is a false statement. So it will return false. It will return false. But when you do the inequality between two unequal, not equal, 3. So this is a true statement. 2 not equals 3. 2 not equals to 3. This is true only. So it will return true. To indicate the trueness or to indicate the correctness of this statement, it will return true. So likewise you have to remember, equals to, not equals to, they are complements to one another, or they are the inverse to one another. So simply, if you have to perform some exact opposite operation where you are applying double equals to, if you want exactly opposite operation, so simply what you have to do, you have to apply the not equals to operation. Okay, likewise. So then yeah, all these things we discussed. Then we have greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, and less than or equals to operators. So they are very simple. Simply what they will do, they will check whether a particular operand is greater than the second operand or not. So like suppose if you are doing like this, 5 greater than 7. So what it is? 5 greater than operator we are applying between 5 and 7. This is a false statement. This operator will check and finds the 5 value is lesser than 7, but you are saying 5 value is greater than 7. So it is a false statement. It is a false statement. And if you do the same thing, 7 greater than 5, it is a true statement, isn't it? It is a true statement. Same thing for lesser than. 5 lesser than 7. 5 lesser than 7, it is a true statement. And these two, lesser than, greater than, they are complement to one another. Okay. So again we have 5, 7 lesser than 5. It is a false. It is a false statement. See, applying greater than or applying less than or equals to, both are equal. So both are same. Okay, they are just the complements to one another. Or applying lesser than or applying greater than or equals to, both are equal. So in mathematics, how we write greater than or equals to? So like this we write, isn't it? Greater than or equals to, like this we write. But this type of symbol, it is not there on your keyboard, and moreover it is not a programming syntax. Okay, it is not a programming syntax. So in order to write the greater than or equals to, how we have to? First you put greater than, then you write equals to. Greater than or equals to. Same way, to frame less than or equals to, how we do? First you write less than, then you write equals to. Okay, less than or equals to. Okay, this type of things we have in your mathematics. Don't think that they are the first time we are discussing. Okay, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, these type of things we have. Okay, so quickly we see, yeah, applying, yeah, less than, greater than we discussed, less than, greater than we discussed, and now we are discussing greater than or equals to. So applying 6 greater than or equals to 6. Is it a valid statement? Is it a true statement? Yes. We are checking either the first operand should be greater to the second operand, or it should be equal to the second operand. So it is equal, so it will return true. It will return true. So the second, one more statement I am writing, 6 greater than or equals to 9, we are saying. 6 greater than or equals to 9, we are saying. So here 6, neither it is greater than 9 nor it is equal to 9. So what will happen? Simply it will return false. It will return false. Same thing. If 6 is lesser than or equals to 6, 6 is less than or equals to 6. So it is not 6 is not less than to 6, but it is equals to 6. So it is true. It is true. Same thing. 6 is less than or equals to 4. Okay. So 6 is less than or equals to 4. 6 is not less than to 4. It is false. And 6 is not equals to 4. It is also false. 6 is neither less than 4 nor equal to 4. Again, it is a false statement. So it will return false. So like this, you can remember all the arithmetic relational operators. And one more thing you have to, just now I told that one. See, if you are using either lesser than symbol or greater than equals to, both will give the same meaning. Or else, if you are using greater than symbol or less than or equals to, both will give the same meaning. Okay, they are just the inverse, or they are just the replaceable operators. Okay, you can, in place of less than, you can put greater than or equals to. In place of greater than, you can put less than or equals to. Both will give the same meaning. So here we have, okay, yes, quickly we go and see the program associated with this one. So all these things we have discussed. So here the relational operators you can see, double equals to we are using for what we call double equals to we are using for checking the comparison of two operators, two operands. And the name is equal. It will check the equivality of two operands. Then not equal. If the given operands are unequal, it will return true. Greater than, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, all these are your mathematical operations, and you are well aware to these things, isn't it? So the next thing is less than. It is a complement to greater than or equals to. So simply, if you want to perform the exact opposite of less than, you put greater than or equals to. Same thing, if you want to perform exact opposite of this greater than, simply put less than or equals to. So double equals to, complement to it, not equals to. We already discussed it. So we'll go to the program and we will see. And this demonstration, because here I am using one type of control structure, I suggest you to focus more, and I suggest you to do the practice as well. Because here we are using the control structures in your programming. Here we are using the control structures. Okay, we'll be using control structures over here, like your if else statement we will be using. So quickly I will shift to your IDE. So this is your IDE. Let me just check how the recording is going on. Yeah, it is good only. So yeah, we'll go here and we'll see. Yes, what I have to do after opening the IDE, I have to go to the file, select new, open the source file. Yeah, the structure of my C program I'm writing hash include stdio dot h, then int main of void, then put like this. So if you want to add the comment like how we did in yesterday's class, okay, so this program is written by whoever wrote that program, you write the name, okay, then you also mention the purpose of this program. This program is to demonstrate the relational operators, and close the comment. So this is the comment section. We wrote the comment. Then in the header file section we have included our standard input output header file. Then global declaration we have nothing. Inside the main function now we are doing the local declarations. So int a value equals to some 10 I'm taking, then b value equals to some 4 I'm taking, like this. I have taken two variables I have declared, defined and initialized. Declaration giving the name, definition specifying the type, and initialization assigning the value. Three things I have done into a single statement only. Then see, we have a statement, we have a control structure known as if else. Two-way selection statement, if else statement. We already discussed about it in your flowcharts. Two-way selection statement. So whenever the condition or the relational statement, whatever you are specifying there, if it goes to true, it will select the true path, and if it goes to false, it will select the false path. Same direction, the flow of control, it will get split in between true path as well as false path, that we have seen in your flow charts. So quickly, how we write the coding for that one, in the sense using the if else statement. Okay, so what I do, if at all, so I'm using all my relational operators inside the single program. If at all my a value is equals to b, I'm starting with double equals to. Okay, if at all my a value is equals to b, then what I am saying, printf a simple statement. A simple statement. What I am printing? Okay, if at all that thing is true, if at all this statement is true, I am printing a message that a is equal to b. A is equal to b. Okay. Otherwise, else, what I have to print? Printf. Same thing. A is not equal to b. So like this. Okay, a simple statement I am writing. See, I told you every statement in your program, it must be terminated with a semicolon. It is like a full stop in your natural languages. But there is a contradiction on this statement, that your control structures you should not close with a semicolon. So being a control structure, your if statement, when you are writing over here, you should not close it. Remember this one. Your control structures, you should not close with a semicolon. Okay? Your control structures, all your control structures, your conditional statements, your we have your looping statement. There is one correction in this statement as well. Only the do while loop, it will be closed with a semicolon. Only the do while loop. When it comes, we will discuss once again. So by the time you simply remember, all your control structures, they should not be closed with semicolon. So if statement, when I am writing, I am not closing it with a semicolon. Else statement, when I am writing, I am not closing with a semicolon. But other statements, like this is the declaration statement, I have closed with a semicolon. This is printing statement, I have closed with a semicolon. This is also another printing statement. I have closed with a semicolon. So now what I am doing, I am saving this program. So how we can do? Go here and click on this save button. So it will ask you to give the name. So now I am giving the name here. So as we are performing relational operations, so relational dot C, all relational operations we are performing, operators we are demonstrating. So I'm making my file name as relational.c. Click on the save button. So my program got saved now. My program got saved now. So now what I have to do, I have to do the compilation of this program. This is the source code. I have to convert this source code into machine code. How I can do that one? By doing compilation. So how we can do the compilation? I have to go to the execute tab, then select the compile. So the program gets compiled successfully. You can see errors are 0, warnings are 0. So the program is compiled successfully. Now run. Okay, run. See, A is not equals to B. A is not equals to B. So generally, in general, what will happen over here means when you are writing the condition over here, A equals to B, it is a condition. So when you are writing a condition over here, A value will be replaced with its value. So here 10 equals to 4. That statement it will check. What it will do over here, 10 equals to 4. It will do like this. So 10 is the equal operator is checking the equality of 10 with 4. It is not equal, isn't it? So it will return false. So this condition it will return false over here. So for an if condition, when you are writing like this, for an if condition, for an if condition, the statements preceding immediately if, the statements whatever you are writing preceding immediately after if, we call it as the true block. We call it as the true block. And the statement whatever we are including is inside the else, okay, inside the else, we call them as false block. We call them as false block. So Control Z, we call them as false block. So I'm taking the line like this from here to here. So we call them as false block. So in between this parenthesis, this is parenthesis. In between parenthesis, what we are doing, we are keeping the condition. We are keeping the condition. And over here in our case, the condition is A equals to B. Like this we have written. 10 equals to 4. Like this we have done. So if the condition is true, then the true block will be evaluated. Whatever statements you have written over here, those things will be evaluated. If the condition goes to false, the else part gets evaluated. If the condition goes to true, true block gets evaluated. If the condition goes to false, false block gets evaluated. But in our case, the condition is false. This condition is false because 10 equals to 4 we are saying that is absolutely wrong. It is false. So what is happening? The false block gets evaluated and you are getting the message A is not equals to B. You are getting a message A is not equals to B. In that way, you are getting the program output. Compilation is over. Execution when you are doing, you are getting the message, this statement from the false block. And for your program, inside this if else condition, the true block is this one and the false block is this one. And we are getting the message from false block only, as you can see. Because our condition is false, the false block gets evaluated. So if I do like this, instead of equals to, if I check the inequality, then what I have to do? Here inside the true block, whenever this goes to true, I have to print a message that A is not equals to B. And whenever this is false, I have to print a message that not equals to means it can be greater, it can be lesser, and it can be anything. Okay, so we should not put equal. Okay, we should not put equal. Rather, what we have to put? Yeah, they can be anything, isn't it? If they are not equals to means, yeah, they are equal only. Good only. Okay, they are equal only. If they are not equals to means they are equal only. So you can write like this. A is equal to B. So then save this program. Same. Now we are checking not equals to sign. And as you can see, they are not equal. So you have to get that statement. compile, and when you execute, you will see A is not equals to B. In this case, when the condition is becoming true, okay, this condition will become true. So the true part gets evaluated. You can see the message, whatever we have written, A is not equals to B, we have written inside the true block. Okay, and same thing, the if statement is evaluating and printing for us, isn't it? Printing for us. So like this. So then if I say A is greater than B, A is greater than B, is it true? A is greater than B? Yeah, if this is true, I have to get it from the true block. Okay, A is greater than B, like this. A is greater than B. If this is not true, A is, maybe A is equals to B, isn't it? So A is not greater. We have to print like this, not greater than B. Whatever operation we are doing, according to that only you make this statement. Okay, A is not greater than B. So like this. Save this program, compile, and see the output. Run. See here. We got like this. A is greater than B. Because A value is 10, B value is 4, we are getting a message A is greater than B. Hopefully you understood. So the next thing, if A is lesser than. So again, we have to change the message over here. A is less than B. Okay. And here A is not less than B. Like this. So this statement, 10 is less than 4, this statement will become false, isn't it? This statement will become false because my A value is 10 and B value is 4. So A is less than 10, it is false statement. So ultimately what will happen? The control will jump from here to here. The control will jump to this print statement, printf statement, and you will get this message on the output screen. A is not less than B. Quickly see that one. Compilation, it is successful, and execution when we do, we got A is not less than B message. You can see here, A is not less than B. So this message we got. The reason, because A value is 10 and B value is 4, and when we are doing this type of this type of comparison, what will happen? This relational statement, it will return false over here. Relational expression, it will return false over here, and ultimately we are getting a message according to that false expression. Okay. So the next thing, less than we discussed, greater than we discussed, less than or equals to, less than or equals to, same thing, it is also false, isn't it? It is also false. A is not, A is less than or equals to, A is less than or equal to B. Okay, and A is not less than or equal to B. Okay, A is less than or equals to B, and A is not less than or equals to B. So again, here this condition goes to false, isn't it? Because A is greater than. So when you say A is less than or equals to B, this condition becomes false. This relational expression becomes false. So ultimately the false block will be evaluated and you will get this message on the output screen. So quickly save the program. Okay, compile it and check the output. See here, A is not less than or equals to B we got. Again, if I do greater than or equals to, greater than or equals to, A is greater than or equals to B, here also greater than or equals to B. So, okay, same thing, save it, compile it, compilation successful, and if you see the execution, you will understand A is greater than or equals to B. Okay, see, if I am going very fast and if you are unable to sync with me, I suggest you to use the pause buttons on YouTube. Okay, we are having pause buttons. There you can see each and every statement, how I am doing, and each and every instruction, how I am explaining, because time is a constraint for us. We have to push and we have to wind up the topics soon as possible, because as I said, time is a constraint for us, time is a condition for us, and if I try to sync with you, will lag, will go behind. Okay, I don't want that one. So if at all you feel that I am very fast, you have a pause button, you can pause the video and you can do the stuff by yourself, and once you are done, again play the video and check what I have said or what I mean how I'm dealing with the things over there. Okay, so this is how you can do the relational operators. Like we have did the less than, greater than, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, double equals to, not equals to, all operators we have checked, all relational operators we have checked. So instead of doing, instead of writing a separate program for each of your operator, what you can do, you can add all those operators inside a single program itself. So how means, it is very simple. Double equals to you put first, then printf a is, you remove all these things, a is equals to b and a is not equal to b. That's it. So this thing we have done. So here, as we are going with multiple, so put a new line character at the end, new line character at the end of all these. So then write another if statement, if at all a is not equals to b, then you will get the same thing, not equals to b here in this if block. Then inside the else block, what you will get? Inside the else block, you will get this particular statement. Okay, printf a is equal to b. If it is not equal, means it is equal inside the false block. If it is not equal, means if it is true, then you will get a is not equals to b. If it is equal, you will get this message. Okay, so likewise. So then if same thing, a is greater than b, you can frame the instructions printf a is greater than b. So likewise, yeah, I told you to put the backslash n's, okay, just to have the new line character at the end of your output. Then inside else, what we will do, printf a is not greater than b, one more backslash n. Okay, so like this. Then if a is less than b, then printf, you have to do the practice. I'm telling you, you have to practice a lot, otherwise you will lag. A is less than b, backslash n. Okay, once again inside the else part, printf, okay, a is greater than, not less than, not less than b. Okay, backslash n. One more thing, check if at all a is greater than we have checked, less than we have checked, right? So greater than or equals to we will check. Okay, so then printf a is greater than or equal to b, backslash n. Else printf a is not greater than or equal to b. Likewise, then finally we left with only one thing, that is a must be less than or equals to b. So like this, we left with this thing. So printf, okay, a is less than or equal to b, backslash n. Then in the else part, printf a is not less than or equal to b, here backslash n. Okay, put the semicolon at the end. That's it. So in this way, instead of writing separate program for each operator, what we did, all relational operator types we kept inside a single program. So this program, when they ask you to write about relational operators, you can frame over there. Okay, if you understand this, it is very simple. Okay, it is very simple. Of course, we have written like 36 lines of code, but it is very simple code. Okay, so simply save this program, go compile. yeah, compilation, as you can see, it is successful without even a single error. See, error free programs, when you will be able to write, means if you do the practice again and again, you have to write the programs, and again you have to rectify the errors, then only what will happen, you will become master in programming, that you will start writing the error free programs. Okay, so don't think that, sir, the way how you are writing we are not getting. Of course you will not get, because you are at the inception stage, you are at the initial stage, you will not get, you will get a lot of errors. I want you to struggle with those errors, then only you will learn something from this programming language. From errors only we are going to learn. Okay, from errors only we are going to learn a lot of things in our programming language. Okay, struggle with those errors, try hard to get rid of those errors. Once you are good at errors, believe me, you will become like anything in your programming language. Okay, so saved the program, compiled the program without any errors. Now execute the program, run. See here, in the first case a is not equals to b, in the second case also a is not equals to b, a is greater than b, not less than b, a is greater than or equals to b, not less than or equals to b. Like this type of messages we got when we gave the values of a as 10 and b as 4. Okay, so if you change the values, like if you put here 4 and if you put 10 over here, all opposite values you will get, all complement values you will get. See here, run this. Now a is not equals to b, a is not equals to b, a is not greater than b, a is less than b, a is not greater than or equals to b, a is less than or equals to b. Likewise, okay, if you give values as equal, then check b value also 4 you give. Now I have given both values, a and b values equal, then you check, compile, execute. See, a is equals to b, a is equals to b, a is not greater than b, not less than b. Okay, a is greater than or equals to, because we have given equal, and a is less than or equals to. Okay, likewise you will get changed outputs, you will get. Okay, these are your relational operators, and I hope you got much idea about using these relational operators. Okay, using this relational operators, and we have discussed almost everything related to these relational operators. And these relational operators, as I told you before, are helpful with in framing or in making your control structures functional. In making your control structures functional, we are using these relational operators. And these relational operators, they are all are binary operators, and they will take two operands to perform their operations, and they return Boolean values. Always they return Boolean values, either true or false they will return. So the next category or next type of operators are logical operators. Okay, simply logical operators. So if you want to check more than one relational operator, more than one relational operator case when you are framing your control structures, or simply we can say these logical operators are helpful in combining the relational operators. Okay, if you want to check more than one condition, so the condition, let us say, if I am saying in order to vote, a person's age must be greater than 18 years. Okay, a person's age must be greater than 18 years. So if I am saying like this, so that condition, how we can do? Simply take one variable where the person's age we put, and we call this as age. And when you are framing the relational operator, age must be greater than 18 you are keeping. Okay, age must be greater than 18 you are keeping. See how we are doing, we are reading the person's age. Okay, and we said age must be greater than 18 in order to vote. So we are reading the age, and we are saying it as must be greater than 18. If you frame this type of relational condition, relational expression, if it is true, then you allow the person to vote. Then you allow the person, simply print a message, printf, the person is allowed to vote. Printf, the person is allowed to vote. Like this you write. Else, if the age is not greater than 18, then what we are saying? Printf, the person is not allowed to vote. The person allowed. Only this much I am writing. Person allowed, and person not allowed. Person not allowed. So let us say we have some we have a country where the age is not the only criterion. We have a country, some X country. I don't want to blame other countries. So let us assume we have some X country where age is not the only constraint. Okay. They also impose another type of constraint that the person's bank balance must be above 50,000. Then only he can vote. Let us say it is a monarch government and there they are having their own rules. So what they are saying, the person should be greater than 18 and his bank balance should be greater than 50,000. Then only we will allow him to vote. Otherwise, no voting. Okay, no voting for that person. So how can you impose that second condition also over here? How can you put that second condition also inside your if control structure? So over here, your logical operators will help you. So we have two conditions. The first condition is the person's age must be greater than 18 and the second condition is his bank balance must be above 50,000. So then in order to combine these two conditions, we are using logical operator. Hope you understood. So very soon we'll do this program also. So the logical operators, we'll see over here. What are logical operators? Logical operators are used to perform the logical operations such as logical AND, logical OR and logical NOT operations. Okay. They are used to combine two or more conditions. You can read the second point over here. Okay. How many different types of logical operators we have? Logical AND we have, logical OR we have and logical NOT also we have. And these logical operators, why we are using? In order to combine two or more conditions. Two or more conditions are complementing the evaluation of a original condition. If you simply want to reverse, the outcome of a relational expression. Okay, relational expression, if you want to reverse it, then also we use the logical operator. Okay, they are as follows. The first one is logical AND. If two conditions you want to meet, both the conditions, just now I said the person's age must be greater than 18. Age must be greater than 18. This is my first condition. And my second condition is, the bank balance. Bank balance, it must be greater than what? 50,000, like this. Greater than 50,000, like this. So if you want both the conditions to meet, simply put logical AND. This is your symbol. Logical AND, how we are framing? Two AND persons. Here you can see logical AND. If you want both the conditions in your logical expression to meet, use the AND operator, logical AND operator. The AND operator returns true when both the conditions are conditions in the consideration are satisfied. If both the conditions return true, then only your final value will become true. Otherwise, it returns false. It is a binary operator. Again, logical AND operator, it will take two operands and it is a binary operator. For example, over here, if person's age is, if I'm having a person with name some X, okay, some Y. Y is my person name. His age is greater than 18 years, or his age, let us say his age is some 54 years, and his bank balance, let us say BB, I will say bank balance, it is, let us say, some 70,000. Is he allowed to vote? Yes, because the first condition, age is above 18 years, it is becoming true, as well as the second condition, bank balance, it is above 50,000. So this is also true. So finally, if both the conditions are true, then only the person will be allowed. So that is the reason why we have used logical AND over here. Okay, so let us assume one case where the person's age, person's bank balance is below 50,000, that is 30,000. If the person's bank balance is below 50,000, that is 30,000, is he allowed to vote? Is he allowed to vote? Now the first condition, age is above 18, that is true. But the second condition, bank balance must be greater than 50,000, it is going false. It is not true, isn't it? It is going false. So then what will happen? If it is false, then ultimately the person is not allowed to vote, isn't it? The person is not allowed to vote. So what will happen? Yeah, here also it will go to false. It will become false. The final output is false. Okay, any of the condition is not meeting means you are simply disallowing him. So the final condition is false. So yeah, consider a case where the bank balance is more but the age is less. His age is 15 and bank balance is, let us say, some 70,000, same like previous. So then what will happen? The first condition will become false and the second condition will become true, even though the person is not allowed to vote because his age is below 18 years. So in that sense, the logical AND operator is used. In case of logical AND operation, both the conditions must be true. Remember that one. Both the conditions or both the operands must return true. Then only the final value will become true and you will get the positive response. If any of the operands is returning false, the final value will also become false and you will get the negative response. Over here, as the person's age is below 18 years, he is not allowed to vote. You are getting negative response. Hopefully you understood. So the next thing is logical OR. To understand this one, I will remove this. I will remove this also. And here these things also I will remove. The person I need. Okay. So these things also I will remove. Okay. So I have two conditions. The second case is if any of the condition is meeting, we are getting a positive response. If any of the two conditions. So let us say if the government imposed a rule that, okay, either the person should be greater than 18 or he should have a bank balance of 50,000, then allow him. That is our condition. What is our condition? Either the person should have age more than 18 years or he should have bank balance of more than 50,000. Then allow him. The government said in that way. Unlike previously. Previously, the government imposed strict rule. The person should have both the things, then only allow him. Now, the government is going lenient and it is saying that, the government is saying that allow if any of the conditions are meeting. That means if the person's age is greater than 18, allow him. Or if the person's age is not greater than, then at least his bank balance must be more than 50,000. Then allow him. So in that case, if any of the one condition you are trying, not the two, but if any of the one condition you are trying, we go for logical OR operator. Okay, this type of symbol we have on your keyboard. You have to look for it somewhere beside your this square brackets. You will get this symbol. So like this. Okay, like this you will have a symbol on the keyboard. Okay, two lines, or in some keyboards it is printed like a straight line like this. Okay, so if you have like this, you make it twice. Okay, you make it twice like this. We call this symbol as logical OR. What we call this symbol as logical OR. Okay, logical OR operator. It returns true when any one of the two conditions, any one of the two operands are true. Okay, not both. Okay, any one. Even if both are correct, then also it will return true only. Okay, minimum at least one condition must be true. If both are false means simply deny. Both are false means finally you will get false only. But if any one of the condition is true or both the conditions are true, you will get true response only, positive response only. So that is our consideration. So simply go and see over here. In our case, what I said, either the person's age must be greater than 8 or the person should have the bank balance of more than 50,000. So here in my case, I am making the person's age as 15 years. The person's age as 15 years and bank balance as 70,000. Is he allowed to vote? Yes. Because he's having more bank balance. Okay, so here what operator we are using? Logical OR operator we are using. So if you are using logical OR operator, then the person will be allowed to vote. The person will be allowed to vote. Hopefully you understood. Then yeah, the reverse case we will see, because here when the person's age is greater than 18, it will return true, but over here it is 15, so it is false. Okay, the second case, the second condition, bank balance, it is 70,000, so this will become true. So finally true you will get, and the person will be allowed to vote. The person will be allowed to vote. So likewise, so yeah, hopefully you understood. And we see the opposite of this one. So if the person's age is more than 15 and if he is having less bank balance, then the person's age is like 24 and bank balance is only 30,000 once again. Okay, 30,000. So then what will happen? Yeah, the first condition, it will become true. The first condition, because the person's age is more than 18, so it will true. It is true. Then bank balance, it is less, so it is false. So ultimately final condition, what it will be? It will be like false only. Sorry, true only, because any one needs to be true. So you will get true and the person will be allowed to vote. So in that way you can remember. And consider the false case, both the conditions, where both the conditions are false. That means neither the person is having age greater than 18 nor the person is having bank balance more than 50,000. So if the person's age is, let us say, only 12 years and he's having a bank balance of 30,000, then the first condition is false and second condition is also false. So finally you will get false only and the person will not be allowed to vote. Okay, so in that way you can remember the logical OR operator. And finally we have the logical NOT, simply the exclamatory mark. Logical NOT operator, what it will do? It will simply reverse. It will simply reverse whatever you have. So let us assume a scenario, a government situation where we are framing the conditions in the reverse order. Okay, where we are framing the conditions in the reverse order. So what we said here, we said the person's age is or the government is saying whatever rules I have just now imposed, simply reverse those rules. Simply reverse those rules. Okay, suddenly we got the government change, and what the government is asking us to do, it is asking us to reverse the condition. So the person's age, it should be less than 18 and the bank balance must be less than 50,000. Then we are allowing. So what we have to do? So whatever conditions we applied previously, simply negate those conditions. Simply negate, or simply say not, logical not. Apply the logical not on the entire thing. Okay, so how we can apply the logical not? Take the parenthesis and apply not. Take the parenthesis here as well as here and apply not, like this. Apply not and take another parenthesis and make it as if. Control structure. Make it as if. So over here what will happen? If the person's age, if any of these conditions are passing and finally you are getting the passing result, simply he will get rejected because we applied not over here. See, age is, let us assume 12 years and bank balance, let us assume 70,000. So simply the government, what it is saying, if the person's age is greater than 18 or if he is having more than 70,000 bank balance, simply disallow him. Simply disallow him. Okay, so here person's age is greater than 18, it is false, and bank balance greater than 50,000, it is true. So finally what you will get? You applied OR operator, isn't it? You applied OR operator, so you will get true only here. Internal to this you will get true only. But your negate operator, not operator, what it will do? It will reverse this true. It will reverse this true, so you will get false. So person will be disallowed. Okay, person will be rejected from voting. Same thing, if the person is having more age and less bank balance. If the person is having more age like 24 and less bank balance like 30,000. So then what will happen? Yeah, the first thing will become true and second thing will become false. Final result will become true, and when you apply the negation on that final result, it will become false. So the person will be not allowed. So this will become true and this will become false, and finally you will get true, and you are applying not on this true, so you will get false. So the person will be not allowed. Okay, so likewise, so when the person will be allowed in this case, just check when the person will be allowed. Neither his age must be greater than the 18 years, and nor his bank balance must be greater than 50,000. Then only he will be allowed. So if you take 12 here, 12 here, uh, no, both the conditions should go true. Yeah, in none of the case the person will be allowed, because ultimately what will happen, you have to get the false case, right? You have to get the false case. Yeah, in this case the person will not be allowed. Simply see, if the age is greater than 12 years, we are saying, so age is 18 years, we are saying age is 12 now, so 12 is greater than 18, so this condition will become false. And here bank balance is greater than 50,000, we are saying, and the bank balance is 30,000, so this will also become false. And then what will happen, the final result of this false, you will get false only. You will get false only. Okay, because we applied logical or. And then when you are negating, when you are reversing this false, you will get true. You will get true. So the person will be allowed. Okay, so this, when the government is simply reversing its strategies, okay, reversing its strategies, we can go, I mean, whatever conditions you have applied previously, and at some point you feel that exactly opposite of that one you need, apply the negation. No need to change the entire expression, simply apply the negation, you will get the same result. Okay, you will get the same result. Quickly we do one simple program using this okay, using this logical operators. So already we are running out of time. See, hash include stdio.h, then int main of void, then what I am doing, same thing I am taking, if at all, sorry, I am taking two variables, int age must be greater than equals to some 24, then bank balance or simply balance I am taking over here, balance equals to some 30,000. Okay, so if at all age is greater than 18, the same condition I am taking, and balance must be greater than 50,000, then only we are allowing to vote, isn't it? So printf person is allowed to vote. Person is allowed to vote. So like this, backslash and simply you put to get the new line. Okay, then else printf, okay, person is not allowed. Okay, backslash n, semicolon. Save this program. Okay, so now you see what I have done. I have taken the person's age as 24 and bank balance as 30,000. So age is greater than 24. This condition will go to true. But bank balance, it is lagging. Bank balance is less than 50,000. So this condition will become false and this condition will become true. But we said and. And in the sense logical, and in the sense both the conditions must be true. So what output you will get? The final output of this expression you will get false, because this second part is going false and you are applied logical and. So you will get false only here, and ultimately what will happen? You will get this message on the output screen. Person is not allowed to vote. Check this one. Compile. Compilation successful, then execute. See, person is not allowed to vote. Person is not allowed to vote. I have written not allowed only, not allowed to vote. If you write, the same thing you will get. Okay, the person is not allowed to vote. Compilation is successful. Execution. See, the person is not allowed to vote. Like this you will get this message. Okay, so how we can change, how we can make it as true, or how we can allow the person to vote means simply make this bank balance as 70,000 greater than 50,000, then he will be allowed. Okay, save it and run it. See, the person is allowed to vote. Person is allowed to vote. So like this. So simply whenever this condition is going true, yeah, it is printing this statement, and whenever this condition is going false, it is printing this statement. Remember that one. So okay, so the logical OR and logical AND will do in the next class, or you can even practice. Simply what you have to do, you have to put the logical OR over here like this, logical OR over here, 2 lines. Okay, or to check the NOT, here like this you can put not of and go to end and put one other parenthesis, sorry, another parenthesis like this. That's it. Okay, in this way also you can try. Okay, with meaning and with clarity we'll see in our next class, because already we are running out of time. It is more than an hour. Okay, thank you very much, students.